NC State's Owen Lloyd is now officially an ACC champion in the 1650, or, depending on how you view it, he has just successfully defended his ACC title in that event. Last year at the ACC Championships, Owen Lloyd touched the wall first in the 1650 with a time of 14:37.04, ahead of his NC State teammate Ross Dant with a time of 14:39.34. However, shortly after his win, as he was getting ready for the post-race interview, it was announced that Lloyd had been disqualified, giving the win to Dant. So what was it? A false start? A 15-meter violation? Both of those would be very bizarre in the mile, but I guess stranger things have happened. No. Owen Lloyd was disqualified for his post-race celebration, specifically right here, where he enters Dant's lane. This caused Lloyd to be disqualified for interfering with another swimmer. The reason being that while Lloyd and Dant and other swimmers in the middle of the pool had already finished their races, some swimmers were still swimming, meaning that the race was still ongoing. So, since Lloyd technically entered another lane while the competition was still ongoing, this was deemed a violation of the rules and he was disqualified. Now, yes, according to the letter of the rules, this would be grounds for a DQ, but I think that most people agree that this is clearly not the intent of this rule. This celebration had zero impact on the ongoing race, so calling it an interference of any kind is a massive stretch. This was a story that quickly gained traction outside of the normal swimming audience, with basically everyone reacting negatively to this disqualification. This DQ meant that Ross Dant was elevated to ACC Champion, a decision that, let's just say, he wasn't the biggest fan of.
I think that's the dumbest rule in swimming. Owen beat me fair and square. He should be on that toe of the podium. He was excited. That's a huge win for him. He works so hard every day. He is going to be on that #1 trophy. I am not going to stand up there. No, he earned that fair and square. He'll be getting that medal.
I've just got to say that Ross Dant seems like an incredible teammate and leader. Aside from this incident, at the 2023 NCAA Championships in the 1650, Dant put up an incredibly fast time in the morning heats, a time that could potentially win the title. Then in the final, it was a race between Dant's time and NC State swimmer Will Gallant in the final. Gallant managed to eventually pull away from Dant's pace and win the NCAA title, meaning that Ross Dant was relegated to runner-up. But who was the literal first person to congratulate Gallant? Ross Dant. You can just see him basically sprinting down to the deck in order to celebrate with his teammate. Just fantastic. For Lloyd, later on at the 2024 NCAA Championships, he swam a time of 14:39.18 to finish 5th. This earned him All-American status in the event and was technically a new best time. But of course, his fastest ever time was that 14:37 that he had taken from him. Now, placing top 8 at Nationals has got to be quite a bit of a rebound, but I imagine that for Lloyd, the overall postseason was quite a bit soured for him. But Lloyd still had one more year of NCAA eligibility, a year that he could use to bounce back even more. Lloyd would go on to have a fantastic midseason meet this year, where he lowered his official personal best with a 14:37.23, just off of his time from ACC's. With a swim like that, the stage is set for Lloyd. He's clearly in very good form, and he could potentially come back and finally win himself that ACC title. Going into the meet, competition looked tough, namely Cal's Lucas Henvo. After the conference realignments that reshaped all of NCAA sports, Cal is now in the ACC, and Henvo threw down a massive 14:74 in his last meet before the start of conference championships. If Lloyd wanted to finally win this ACC title, it wouldn't come easy. He would have to battle the #1 seed who put up the fastest time in the NCAA so far that year. During the first 500, Henvo had a slight lead over Lloyd, 4:23.11 to 4:23.82. But over the next 500 yards, Lloyd began to make up some ground, and at the 1,000 mark, he had the lead, 8:49.11 to 8:50.18. From that point on, Owen Lloyd kept control of the whole race as he broke away from the entire field to win decisively in a 14:31.64, a win by almost 5 seconds. Now officially an ACC champion, champion that actually gets to keep his best time, and in order to do it, he had to pull off an upset against the #1 seed. He also had to go a best time in order to win, because runner-up Liam Custer out of Stanford was faster than his old personal best. That's an overall solid time drop for Lloyd, a drop that he'll credit to that DQ, saying that it put a chip on his shoulder, which, hey, is a pretty healthy way to put a positive spin on the whole situation if you ask me. I'm super glad that Owen got this win. It's a big part of the reason why I listed as the men's 1650 as one of my top races for the 2025 ACC Championships. It's an awesome redemption arc for a story that got so much attention last year. What did you think about Lloyd's swim this year? Or what did you think about his unfortunate disqualification last year? And what do you think he'll do a month from now at NCAAs? Let me know down below.